If you're looking for an online reef store that also has a retail storefront, give ReefCo Aquariums from New Jersey a shot. I'm Russ Kickle, and on this episode of American Reef, we're going to go behind the scenes and talk to the owner of ReefCo Aquariums and give a little store tour. As you guys know by now, I love helping and promoting small businesses, right? Small family-owned businesses that have a heart, they have a soul, they really care about you succeeding. And in this video, we're going to talk to an owner of one of those small businesses, ReefCo Aquariums of New Jersey, right? And we're going to talk to Brian, and we're going to get a little history about why he even set the store up, how long it's been in business, right? His strengths, that sort of thing. Again, giving you guys another tool in your arsenal of reef keeping, right, to help be successful. With that being said, remember, please support my sponsors. Again, they follow that same mold. Honest, good guys that care if you succeed. Those are Tunzi, Bulk Reef Supply, Premium Aquatics, right, and Top Shelf Aquatics. Again, I think you'll find out that no matter what you buy from those guys, ultimately, you're going to be happy with not only the products, the livestock, but also how they treat you. And again, the fact that they do care. With that being said, let's talk to Brian, right? And let's hear what he has to say about ReefCo Aquariums of New Jersey.
How long you been doing it? How long you been in the hobby? How long ReefCo been around? Where you at? Give everybody some tidbits.
I've been in the hobby for about 15 years. Started working in a couple local stores around here in New Jersey, and started doing service as kind of side work, probably back around 2009, 2010. And then in 2012, kind of went out on my own and formed ReefCo Aquarium Service, and have been doing maintenance and installations and everything full time since then.
So hold on. So you've been doing this for 15 years, and now did you have a tank on the side? I mean, what actually got you into it?
Yeah, my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time. We started it as a hobby, probably, like I said, 2009 or so. And we started with freshwater, then got a saltwater tank, then a bigger saltwater tank, worked in a couple stores, kind of just going around, doing my thing. And then in 2012, formed ReefCo Aquarium Service, after having enough side work and everything kind of to go off on my own, and have been doing maintenance and installations and everything since 2012. And then about 3 years ago, we kind of outgrew my house, my basement, as a lot of these stores and everything start off in their house or basement, garage, whatever. Outgrew that and was looking for a retail space. And we found this place, and we initially weren't going to be open to the public at all, but with the location and everything being on a major highway, people just started showing up, and we just decided to have open hours for everybody. So
Sure.
it just, yeah.
Okay, so tell everybody where you're at. What's your address? What state? All that sort of stuff.
We're located in Greenbrook, New Jersey, 319 Route 22 East, Greenbrook. We're open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 7, and then Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 5.
And now, in my mind, Jersey, New York area, that's one of the hubs, right?
Right.
So to that point, with the services side of it, right, do you find that in general, your customers are, how can I say this? Um, I want to say persnickety, that's not the right word. Demanding. In other words, I've got some people who they're just happy to get a tank, right? And they don't really
Right.
know it. And there's other places where, again, since it's more of a hub slash a lot of people around, they're into the hobby, they know what they want, and they're coming at you with these tanks that are, again, dream tanks for the hobbyists, so to speak, right?
Right.
And services, maybe more, I don't want to say more of a hassle, but demanding, right?
Right. So we have a pretty big mixture of clients, residential, commercial. We do some freshwater, saltwater, but reef is our main thing. So I would say that's the majority of our clients are, they do have reef tanks. Fortunately, everybody is pretty cool. They're all pretty good to work with. Uh, you know,
Oh, we're gonna we're
they're
gonna knock, we're gonna knock on wood because as soon as you make that comment, right? You'll get the call this afternoon.
right. Yeah, yeah. Fortunately, as of right now, everybody's pretty good to work with. Everyone's pretty passionate about their aquariums. For the most part, everybody likes to be a little bit involved. So we'll send out fish lists and send pictures, or even just have them down to the store to kind of pick stuff out, and then we'll bring it uh, ourselves. But of course, we do have some clients that aren't as involved, and they just want to have a beautiful aquarium in their house or their business, and we also help out with that too, and just try and choose the appropriate livestock and everything that's really going to thrive and do well for somebody that might not know what they're looking for.
That's what I was gonna ask. Do you find out that that's a blend 50-50 kind of thing where people just want more of a pretty picture versus actually doing it, or what's kind of your ratio there?
Yeah, it's probably pretty close to 50-50. Like I said, we do some freshwater too, so that kind of messes up that ratio. But yeah, I would say for the most part, maybe even 60-40, where 60% are more involved than not. The 40% is going to be like restaurants or businesses where they're going to be in charge of feeding the fish and keeping an eye on evaporation, things like that. But overall, we're going to choose the fish, choose the coral, and kind of focus on things that we know will do well, and try and keep the systems as simple as possible, automating where we can, but knowing at the same time that sometimes if you automate too much, it could be it could be an issue as well. So
Right. Okay, so now I know on the automation side, we had talked a little bit earlier, and you had talked about, again, using Neptune systems, right? That kind of thing.
right.
Is that kind of your staple as far as what you use to do the automation, the monitoring, the life support kind of stuff, or what do you do there?
Yeah. A lot of our reef tanks out in the field do use Neptune systems. Over the last couple years, it's become so much easier to install it on service client tanks. It used to be difficult. We have to bring a computer, run Ethernet cables, everything like that. Now we can set it up wirelessly. We can literally set up a Neptune system, Apex, in a matter of minutes. You scan the barcode and you're up and running. We'll copy outlets from other systems that we have done and just kind of streamline it that way. And we sometimes even program it here at our shop and then plug it in, reset the Wi-Fi, and we're good to go. So yeah, out in the field, we do use a lot of Neptune. And then in the store, we also have a system on every one of our systems. So we have 6 different reef systems in the retail store. We have tridents on everything, doses on everything, which has been amazing, because prior to that we had calcium reactors, and I would notice the pH fluctuating or something like that on the Apex, and I would be at home. I'd have to rush to the store and see what's going on, why, knowing how much demand some of the systems would use up for CO2. And now with the Trident and the dose, I'm able to just either turn off the dosing head, adjust how much is going in, everything, because I can just see the numbers on the Trident. So.
And have you noticed additional growth with that kind of progression, or is it more of a peace of mind, you know, with the kind of progression you've seen?
Definitely the stability that it has provided to us has increased the growth. And it's just a constant consumption, where before, you know, we would have to tinker a little bit with the calcium reactor. I think it's mostly, you know, having the Trident and seeing those numbers all the time, knowing how much is going into the system has helped a lot. Yeah.
All right, good deal. Yeah, because I mean, for the new hobbyists, which again, like we talked about, that's what I gear to. I tend to tell everybody, listen, use it, you know, use it for monitoring, but no life support because you're new. You need to figure things out, right? You want to use
Right.
it to help you. But to your point, now that you're seasoned and experienced, you can actually get additional growth from and get it rolling.
Right. So one other thing touching on that is we don't rely on it. We still do manually test, but we'll notice on the graphs any major swings. So if I'm getting a reading of 8.0 for the alkalinity, and then next time I look and it's 10, I'm not going to go and adjust my dosing head because now it's telling me it's 10. I'm going to go and I'm going to test and see, is it really 10? What happened? Did my dosing increase? Did something happen to cause it to shoot up to 10, or am I getting a false reading from the Trident and I need to either recalibrate it or see what's going on? So like I said, I don't rely on it to, to do everything for me, but I do use it heavily to kind of get an idea of the trends and what's going on with our systems.
Sure. Early warning system, and to your point, you can tell the experience coming through, right? Because how many times I've gone through and it was a calibration of something, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Good deal. Okay, so then when you look back to the services side of it, right, you've kind of got that 50-50-ish thing going, or 60-40, excuse me, where, again, you have kind of, the reef tank side of it. Do you focus on big aquariums, small aquariums? Does it matter?
No, we do all size aquariums, really. We have, a few close to 1,000 gallons. I would say 200, 180, 215. Those are probably our most popular sizes. We do a lot of 90-gallon reefs. So yeah, we're really all over the place with it. Some of the freshwater tanks are even smaller. Yeah.
Cool. And are you to the point now where you're up to here and you can't handle any more tanks, or you can handle as many as they come along?
I'll never say that we can't handle anymore. We'll always figure out a way to keep going and keep getting it done. So.
Good deal. Now, you had said that you and your wife kind of started it. Is she do this with you, or does she say, or you can't work together? Like for me and my wife, we never work together. It just doesn't work together. And remember, this will get aired, and she'll probably.
No, she's still into the hobby. She helps us at all the shows. She's at every single booth whenever we have a show. She comes to the store. She feeds. She's always bringing us supplies, things like that. But she does have her own job, and she has her own tank at home too. So yeah, she's still into it as well.
Good for you guys. And so, with that being said, you talk shows, right? Which show? I mean, do you do like the East Coast shows? Do you do all the shows? What kind of shows do you do?
Yeah, we do most of the shows around this area. New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. We haven't traveled too much further than that. Manhattan Reefs, Frag Farmers, Connecticut, shows like that.
Okay, good deal. Again, if you're a new hobbyist, check out this. If you can't get to the store, check out this place.
Yeah.
So to that point, right? If I'm somebody in, we'll say the Jersey, New York, whatever Philly area kind of thing, and I want to come see your shop, why would I come there? Right? What separates you from everybody else?
There's a lot that actually separates us from other stores in our area, or really stores just all around. We try and focus more on providing quality livestock to our customers. So when you go to a show and you see like all the colorful pieces and healthy coral and everything, because these are vendors coming from all around the world, that's the kind of stuff that we try and showcase in our store. Try and provide some of these choice pieces. So we'll actually source and farm a lot of the coral from the shows. So when we're going to a show, our main objective isn't necessarily to sell as much coral as possible. We're trying to buy and source new pieces that we can have to bring back to our store, to bring to shows in the future. So yeah, quality coral, I would say. Aquacultured coral, when Indo was closed and we weren't able to bring in any coral except for Australia, we did fine, because farming coral has always been one of our main focuses.
Yeah, and you have, to your point, at the shop, right? You are growing, farming out coral, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we, in the back of all of our tanks and in the back of the store, we have some farm tanks, and we have colonies in behind all of our corals for sale. We have the grow out pieces and stuff. So not every customer wants to hear that large piece isn't for sale, but you could buy the frag. But that's how we're able to continue to provide coral for all of our customers, and make sure that that piece is around for generations, because it's in this person's tank, that person's tank. We don't just dump all of our stuff just trying to make as much profit as possible. We want to continue keeping these corals around for a long time.
Sure. Yeah, I think Sanjay referred to that as banking them, right? So he'll bank
Right.
corals at various
Right.
tanks in the States, right? That
Right.
way the business is, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So then, okay, so going back to, if I'm somebody in the area coming to visit the store, quality is the one thing that you're focusing on, and that's quality. Is that just livestock? What else are you trying to promote?
Well, our store is not huge, so really it's from the livestock all the way to the dry goods. We try and focus on the products that we know that hobbyists are interested in using. All of our, you'll never come in here and see a Marineland or an Aqueon tank or anything. Like, all of our tanks that we sell are either going to be built by Planet, Waterbox, the lights that we carry, AI, Ecotech. We have all the full Neptune line. We're a diamond dealer for Neptune. Test kits, we have Hannah. So we're carrying the stuff that everybody wants. The stuff that if you come into a store, you're not going to really necessarily expect to see. We're going to have that kind of stuff.
Got it. And what about weird things? Algae reactors, right? And when I say weird, I mean, something that we'll say a new hobbyist right off of the bat might not look at and go, I want one of those.
Weird things. I think the weirdest new thing that we just started carrying is going to be a CO2 scrubber. So when I have, and that's, just the small item, they're inexpensive, but maintaining a high pH right now is very important for hobbyists. So when I have somebody ask for something and we don't carry it, I almost take offense to that. And I start looking into it and researching it and saying, is this something that we're going to want to carry? And, somebody asked me, oh, do you have CO2 scrubber in stock? And I said, no, but, give me a little bit and let me look into this. And now it's something that we're actually using in the store and carrying on the shelves. So that I would say is our newest example.
Perfect. So let's swing to the shop a little bit, the hobbyist side of it, right? So from your end of it, how many gallons of water do you have in the shop? Just roughly. I mean, I know you don't know exactly.
Yeah, how many gallons? Our fish system isn't huge. It's about 500 or 600 gallons. And then coral systems has changed a little bit lately. So I would say probably about 1,500 to 2,000 gallons, not counting any grow out systems.
Okay. And if you were going to put your grow out systems, where you at there?
Currently, full of water, our grow out systems is probably about another 500 or 600 gallons.
Okay. Okay. So with thousands of gallons, right, do you find it harder or easier to maintain versus your clients' couple hundred, gallons of water?
So all of our systems are not tied together. So each coral system is separate. So we have 2 tanks per system. So we do that for several reasons. One being, if there's an issue in one system, it's not necessarily an issue in another system. And also, we don't want to mix any wild coral with any coral that we've been culturing. So we're currently able to bring in Indonesian coral. So we don't want to put that with the coral that we've been culturing for a while. Even though we dip and inspect and everything like that, keeping it separate has always been very important for us. So, so in terms of maintenance, it's a little bit more difficult because of the fact that we can't just take out, 200 gallons and we just did a 10% water change. We have to literally go through each system and take out, 20 gallons, 40 gallons, 60 gallons, and then fill it back up and then move on to the next system. So it is extremely time consuming to do it that way. And it's more expensive because we have to have a pump for every system, multiple heaters for every system, multiple power heads for every system. So it has its pros and cons.
Sure, sure. Well, I guess on the pro side of it, if one thing goes, it doesn't wipe out everything, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And take us through, again, from a hobbyist standpoint, the life support system, right? The things that you rely on to make sure that the fish are healthy, your corals are healthy, all that sort of thing. What's a typical system look like?
So we keep our systems fairly simple, and we do that because if there's an issue, we don't want to try and have to figure out, is it this or is it that? We'll know, we'll be able to pinpoint easier what the issue is. So we keep trigger system tide line sumps on most of our systems, either reef octopus or Nio skimmers. In most cases, we have Vectra L2 return pumps, MP40 power heads, and Ecotech lighting. So every system has Ecotechs. I think we have one system that has Radions and T5s, but for the most part, the Radions have been great for us. We get great color, great growth. So I've had no reason really to use anything else.
Sure, yeah. Why fix it if it's not broke?
Right.
And what are you doing for the supplementation? Is it all just pills come to the Triton kind of thing, or again the 2-part, or what are you doing there?
So right now we're currently just supplementing alkalinity and calcium with ESV Bionic 2-part.
Yep. Yep.
So we use that for 2-part, and we're dabbling a little bit with trace elements. Until I send out an ICP test, I won't know too much about that and how, what the numbers are like. But I'm experimenting a little bit with the Tropic Marin A and K trace elements.
Right. Yeah, Mike's been doing a lot of it as well. It's a long-term thing. How long have you been doing it?
About 2 weeks now. So.
Okay. When do you expect to see, or if you're going to see, any changes?
Well, we're constantly inspecting our corals visually, but in about a month, I'll send out an ICP for each of our systems and kind of just see if any levels are elevated or too low or what. But we started the dosage low at 25% of what they recommend. So I don't expect too big of a jump, but some of the levels have been low in the past, like iodine and even potassium. So I'm expecting those to be a little bit higher when I get the results back from ICP.
Sure. Yeah, now Mike's been playing with for about, I'll say, a good 8 months to a year. But his is focused more on coloration. right? I mean,
Right.
some
Right.
growth, but he really wants the pop, right?
Yep.
You know,
Yep. That's what everyone's looking for.
right, right.
Yep.
And as it relates to kind of, phosphate, nitrate kind of reduction, that kind of thing, what are you doing there? Anything special?
No, we just started trying an algae scrubber on our show tank, but we've never really had an issue maintaining uh, you know, too high of nitrate or phosphate. It's always been an issue of it being too low. So we've been able to kind of tweak that using HPD and phytoplankton. So when the nutrients are dropping too low, we started adding extra foods to the HPD, like reef roids or Benny Pets, and going a little bit heavier with that. So we've been able to maintain like almost perfect levels of nitrate and phosphate, like just under 10 for the nitrate, and we shoot for around 0.08 to
Sure.
0.12 or so for the phosphate. So I don't know if it's necessarily the HPD that's doing it, or the fact that our fish are getting so big and fat from just constantly grazing on the food throughout the day and just producing waste and helping us keep those numbers up. But
No, I was going to say, to your point, that's like way back when, with the HPD, that was one of the main things that turned me on to, because you can control it, right?
Right.
Versus when you throw something in the water, it's broadcast, right? So here we go. What are they going to eat? Who knows? You hope they get it, but they don't. Then
Right.
you find you have filter socks and all that noise, right?
Right.
Whereas when it's contained, you know where it's going, right? In a belt.
Yeah.
Don't get me
Yep,
wrong,
yep.
it's coming out the other end, but you can
Yeah.
still manage that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good deal. And so have you always had that issue? Meaning, I know the guys down at Top Shelf, for example, same thing. Their issue is they can't get enough nutrients, right? So they're always kind of struggling with that a little bit, right? Just to try to get the phosphates up, etc. Have you always had that kind of, well, I'll call it issue, but it's, a dream to solve, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's because of how we set up our systems and how open and try and clean we make them. Um, for example, in a reef tank, we don't throw a ton of rock in there and pack it real tight. In our show tank, it's 250 gallons or 215. But when you go around and you count how many rocks actually touch the substrate, there's only 8 or so that touch it throughout that 6-foot tank. And everything is just kind of stacked up, making big openings and caves, preventing any dead spots or anything like that from forming in the sand or anything. And our reef tank, our frag tanks kind of have the same idea. Like the racks are elevated, we have good flow in there, making sure we don't have a lot of detritus or anything building up. The filter socks get changed often. Our sumps aren't cluttered and full of rock or anything. We use a lot of the marine pure blocks for for biological media. So I think just the fact of keeping everything open and providing good flow has allowed us to keep the nutrients low, and then manually elevate them with foods and nutrients that way, instead of fighting and using chemicals like GFO or anything like that,
Right.
to try and get them back down.
Right. Makes a ton of sense, right?
Yeah.
And the the interesting part about that too is the fact that again it's a much simpler system, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So less things to break, to rely on, to maintain, to so
Yeah.
good deal. So a couple of things that stood out in there. Um, so your main strategy, keep solids in suspension or nutrients in suspension until you can get them out, or right,
Right. Yep.
again, don't give them spots to do it. But then the other thing you said was light rock and more kind of like the marine pure, kind of those little porous little balls or blocks or whatever. Do you end up spending much time from a maintenance end cleaning the pores out and all that sort of stuff, or do you just kind of set it forget?
Yeah, for the most part, we just set it and forget it. I've kept them in a refugium area before, and I've seen them kind of attract some algae. So I try not to keep them in a refugium. I try and keep them in more of like a darker area. But they've been great for me. I don't have any issues with them crumbling or falling apart or anything. I have some blocks that are older than the store, so probably 5, 6 years old, that I can pick them up, clean out the stump, put them back in, and they're still in perfect shape, you know?
Right.
So like I said, they've been great. We use them even on our fish systems where we run, copper and stuff like that. And we can't have live rock or anything. And they've worked great for that too.
Ah, good deal. And do you gravitate more towards the blocks or the little spheres? Does it matter?
Uh, it depends on the application, I guess. So on our fish systems, the way that our sumps are designed, it's a little bit easier for us to have the spheres, where in the reef tanks, the sumps are much larger, and we can just put the blocks, they stand up nice, they're not rolling around or anything like that. So in a tighter, kind of more confined area where the blocks can, or where the spheres can kind of be contained and aren't going to move, I'll use the spheres. And then in a larger sump where the blocks can just kind of stand freely and I can move them around a little bit, that's when I'll use the block.
Okay. So I'm going to change gears on it completely. Right? More from a, we'll say, business side. So if Brian could go back in time, back to when you started this, right? The service industry is tough, right? So I guarantee you're not working a 40-hour week, right? I'm sure you're working, again, way into the 60 hours, whatever that is. Right? So if you could go back in time, right, and say, do it again or do something else, would you do it again?
Yeah, I would definitely do it again. The amount of time and everything that it takes, I don't even really think about that. I just keep on taking on more and more. I love the growth aspect of it. Starting from doing service myself to hiring my first service tech and opening the retail store and doing shows and everything like that. I just love continuing to grow the company, getting new stuff, meeting new people. Everything about it, it doesn't really feel like work to me. Like I said, I still keep an aquarium at my house with my wife, so even when I'm not working, I'm still learning about it. I'm watching videos. It's pretty unique in terms of this whole industry, and it's not like any other business really. There's no other business that I've seen where people are so obsessed and involved with all aspects of it.
So if, again, since this video definitely is going to hit the new hobbyists, right? Words of wisdom, right? Those little pearls that, having businesses and having been in for so long, right? You have, right? What would you tell, that new hobbyist who hasn't purchased anything yet, but is saved and is ready to buy, right? But like everything else, they're kind of like, I could.
Right. I would say to try and just buy everything once instead of buying less expensive light and then 6 months later realizing that light isn't what you wanted and then buying another one, because now that $800 light just became $1,000 light, because you're never going to get that 200 back that you spent on the cheap light. So I would I would say buy everything once and kind of look to the people that are doing it right and see what they're doing, see what kind of lights they're using, what kind of equipment they're using, and most importantly, don't just because they've been in the hobby, don't just take their advice because they've been in the hobby for 10 years. Look at their aquarium. Is their aquarium beautiful? Is it colorful? Are their corals growing? Things like that are all going to be really important. You know, anybody can keep an aquarium for 10 years, but actually seeing what they're keeping and then take their advice. You know, I always try and look to guys, like you mentioned before, like Top Shelf, like look at what equipment they're using and how colorful and how much growth all their corals are, and try and duplicate, you know, people that are doing it right. Don't just, there's a lot of people with aquariums out there right now. So.
Right, exactly. Cool, good deal. Well, I'm thinking at this point, right, probably, we don't, like I said, I like to keep the videos close to 40 minutes, an hour, but I think that we're somewhere around that side of it. So any parting words before we kind of wrap this up? Hold up. Here, I'll put some parting words for you.
All right.
Now, tell everybody again how to get in contact with you, why they would want to get in contact with you, where you're at, and again, the best ways. And then you can add whatever parting word.
You can check us out in Greenbrook, New Jersey, ReefCo Aquariums, 319 Route 22 East. You can find us on Instagram at ReefCo_NJ, and on Facebook at facebook.com/ReefCo Aquariums, and of course, reefcoaquariums.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And okay, so to that point, what's the one that you like using? Which tool out of all those do you like using? Is it email? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it whatever?
I would say we're most active on Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram or our website. If you need to reach out, either of those two are the best options. We have the contact forms on the website, and of course you could DM on Instagram.
Okay. And you know, one thing we actually didn't talk about was more kind of like the web side of it, the web business, because again, we talked about, you know, your physical store where people can come in, but you also have the ability to, again, you know, sell corals, sprags, stuff like that via your webpage, right?
Yeah, if you check us out, reefcoaquariums.com, we do have a coral section on there where we sell our aquacultured coral, and you can check it out on there.